Pakistan's state-owned enterprises suffered an unprecedented loss of more than 300% in their last fiscal year, which is July 2024 to June 2025. This data was revealed in a report by the country's Ministry of Finance on Friday. State-owned enterprises or SOEs in Pakistan span from energy, transport, finance to the services sector, and among them, power companies suffered the maximum losses. Hello and welcome to The Print. My name is Debdutta, and in this edition of Go to Pakistan, we discuss what the latest report on Pakistan's state-owned enterprises revealed. Now, according to a Finance Ministry report, in 2025, Pakistan's state-owned enterprises incurred a net loss of PKR 122 billion or 122 billion Pakistani rupees, which is 3 times more than the previous loss, which was 30 billion Pakistani rupees. The finance minister, however, cited the falling prices of oil as a major reason behind the lack of profits. Pakistan's former finance minister Miftah Ismail, while speaking to The Print, said that how successful this government has been in its self-proclaimed efforts to reform the SOEs can be gauged by the massive 300% increase in their losses. He then added that the solution, which is privatization, is staring them in the face, but the government neither has the mental bandwidth nor the political inclination to do so, so it will keep wasting time and racking up losses. In a similar vein, Express Tribune, in its editorial after the report was released, said that this is a horrific structural failure that continues to drain public resources and undermine economic stability. It then added, and I quote, "What remains missing is the political will. As long as state-owned enterprises are treated as instruments of patronage or employment buffers, meaningful reform will remain out of reach. Continuing to pour trillions into the same leaky vessels is nothing but willful disregard for the public purse." The report was made public at a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on State-Owned Enterprises held under Finance Minister Muhammad Aurangzeb. The Cabinet Committee was presented with the annual consolidated performance report of commercial and non-commercial state-owned enterprises for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, and it was prepared by the Central Monitoring Unit of the Finance Division. The committee was informed that during fiscal year 2024-2025, the aggregate revenue of state-owned enterprises stood at PKR 12.4 trillion, which is a reduction from last year's 1.4 trillion or around 10%. Aggregate profits of profit-making enterprises also declined by 13% and numerically to PKR 710 billion in comparison to 821 billion last year. Now, what is the state of Pakistan's state-owned enterprises? Among the main profit-generating state-owned enterprises in Pakistan are the oil, gas, power generation, finance, and strategic service sectors. Leading among them are Oil and Gas Development Company and Pakistan Petroleum Limited, with profits of approx PKR 82 to 85 billion and 50 billion respectively. In 2024, the Oil and Gas Development Company led profits by around 123.3 billion. And along with that, financial institutions like National Bank of Pakistan, the State Life Insurance Corporation also remained profitable due to steady interest income and premiums. Additionally, strategic service entities are entities like Pakistan Revenue Automation Limited and Pakistan Single Window, which also generate fair share of revenues. The loss-making entities, meanwhile, include the power distribution companies or the DISCOs, Pakistan's International Airlines or PIA, Pakistan Railways, the National Highway Authority, and Pakistan Steel Mills. Now, despite being a loss-making entity, Pakistan Railways, with an annual deficit of around 55 billion, is now planning a $62 billion corridor under the CPEC 2.0, which was announced in 2024. In 2024, the Pakistan government also kept the Pakistan Revenue Automation Limited or PRAL and Pakistan Single Window as essential entities aimed at retaining them in the public sector due to the profits it was generating. But why is Pakistan caught in a never-ending debt loop? Now, to help the state-owned enterprises stay afloat, what the government did during the 2024-2025 fiscal year is that it pumped 2.1 trillion of taxpayer money into these enterprises. Most of this wasn't fresh spending on services, but equity injections, which is money given to shore up these companies' balance sheets and mainly to pay off circular debt. Now, circular debt is where power companies, fuel suppliers, and the government owe money to each other. Now, at the same time, direct subsidies actually went down, meaning the support shifted from subsidies to capital bailouts. Essentially, what's happening is that the government is still heavily propping up loss making SOEs, but is doing it more through capital infusions to plug out old debt rather than ongoing subsidies. Moreover, this decline actually came during the first full fiscal year of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's government, despite repeated promises of reform and economic stabilization. In the mid of this comes Pakistan's privatization bid. Multilateral creditors like the IMF, World Bank, and Asian Development Bank have long asked Pakistan to privatize their state owned enterprises in order to raise cash and reduce the fiscal burden of loss making entities. In a 2023 Diplomat article, author Sameer Tata had argued that one potential approach is a debt to equity swap where foreign creditors exchange Pakistan's sovereign debt for shares in these enterprises which are going to be privatized. How this would help is that it could lower external debt, attract foreign investment, and reduce government supports for the state owned enterprises. As of now, Pakistan's total foreign debt stands at around $134 billion, with about $6.12 billion in 2025 and $4.73 billion in 2024 in the private sector. In the public sector, it is somewhere around $29 to $33 million. In a swap, essentially, these creditors like IMF, World Bank could receive equity in companies such as the Pakistan International Airlines or State Life Insurance Corporation, either through full control transfers or partial stake sales via the stock exchange. But that is not enough. Pakistani economist Javed Hassan told ThePrint that the IMF would like to see rationalization and has also encouraged legislation towards improving governance of these state owned enterprises. And while doing this may help, in many cases, the debt structure and the underlying business may make it difficult to make some of these state owned enterprises profitable in the end. Now, here's another data to prove the point. In its biannual performance report for July to December fiscal year of 2025, Pakistan's Ministry Central Monitoring Unit or CMO identified the power sector as the biggest drag on state owned enterprises. It had accumulated losses reaching up to 5.9 trillion Pakistani rupees. This sector alone accounts for 2.4 trillion of the 4.9 trillion circular debt across all state-owned enterprises. Along with this, the National Highway Authority reported the highest net loss of 153.3 billion Pakistani rupees, making its total deficit to 1.953 trillion Pakistani rupees. Quetta Electric Supply Company and Sukkur Electric Power Company saw 6-month losses of 58.1 billion and 29.6 billion, with cumulative losses of 770 billion and 473 billion respectively in that fiscal year. With these numbers, even if Pakistan does move towards the privatization bid, generating profits from public sector undertakings remains a distant dream. This is Debdutta for ThePrint. Keep watching for more such videos.